a broken foot 2 weeks before shoot. That was painful, some toes, I should say. The first action scene, I broke my hand. I knew that they were gonna grind the production to a halt if I told the guys on the ground, so I just told my producer, I was like, don't say anything, it's broken, I heard it. Let's keep going. And it was very painful. You know, it's like the nerve in the bone, it's just like sending shots up my... But we carried on filming, we finished the shoot day. You know, I couldn't wear a cast because then we wouldn't have the money to VFX it out, so we got on this private plane. It was a cheap medical jet, so we could keep the bubble of COVID because the insurance wouldn't let us break the bubble. So we found this way, okay, if we get on a plane and no one's on it, and we put the screw in and the doctor was like, you cannot, you know, move or put any pressure on the hand because if you bend that screw, it's like pulling a nail out of wood. And so I told him I wouldn't do anything, and then we went straight back into shooting action, tore my shoulder. So many injuries I can't even tell you. The process was just a lot of planning. And then all of that planning, because of the amount of catastrophe we faced, just all those plans going out the window. Every day we'd turn up to a set we spent 4 months prepping to shoot, and the army's there. This is a red zone, you can't film here. So we're trying to find a corner around the hotel to reset up this huge action piece or something. And every day, you know, a camera breaks, we can't ship it in. And we're on this small island in Batam in Indonesia. So we're using mobile phones, GoPros, you know, the rig breaks. Okay, let's make it out of rope and swing the camera now instead of like using a crane arm. It was being as resourceful and as adaptive as you can be. Nearly 12 years, I think, it's taken me to get this to where it is now. It started with the stories my grandfather used to tell me as a kid about, you know, these amazing Indian mythologies and this one character, Hanuman, that totally inspired me. Once I had this image in my head of, you know, this young man in a ring, literally wearing this rubber gorilla mask like a performing monkey, everyone throwing trash at him. It's like, this is an interesting way to kind of ground this and give it some real social resonance and pull from this mythology and do something quite different with it. The film, you know, was picked up originally by Neflix, and then that didn't quite work out for a few reasons, and I was kind of ready to say goodbye to this film. I was very sad. I thought, okay, this is it. It's going to sit on the shelf for a long time. Then, you know, I get a call from my agent. He's like, have you heard of this guy, Jordan Peele? I was like, come on. And we got on the phone. We spoke for almost 3 hours. It was like a therapy session. And, you know, Jordan really understood what I was trying to do with the film, you know. As a guy that's created a piece of genre that talks about so much more, that was what I'm trying to do with this. So, you know, we really bonded on that. And he's like, I hope you don't mind. I've shared it with Universal and we're going to buy it. And I nearly fell off my seat. Yeah. I came up with the idea. I wanted to act in it, but I'd originally given it to Neil Blomkamp, a director I'd worked with, and he was like, "You got to do this, man. Like it's inside you. It's you. You feel every frame of this film. You have to do it." So it's because of him I started on that journey, and then I haven't looked back. Everything from Bruce Lee to the Raid franchise to mainly Korean cinema. But, you know, in terms of the tone came from just me wanting the audience to be as close to the action and feel it as viscerally as I do as a performer. We don't just keep the camera super wide. You know, we come in, we sometimes enter the perspective, we leave the perspective. I hired one of the stuntmen to operate the camera, so literally, if the camera was to get hit and I was to do a forward roll, he can roll with me. So the camera rolls and he's still holding it. And we started doing these, like with the setup, started passing the camera around to other operators so we could keep it more fluent. And it's jagged and raw, which I like, it's surprising. I knew as soon as, you know, you're someone throwing punches and kicks wearing a suit, they're gonna be like, John Wick. You know, I love John Wick. This is a whole different style. You know, I actually am using the action genre as a Trojan horse to talk about things that I'm deeply passionate about. You know, as a British Asian man, as a performer that spent a lot of time in India, and I hope it will kind of be a gateway drug to a lot of people when they come out to talk about these new mythological aspects and more interesting, deeper tones to the film. I'm ready to direct myself to sleep. I'm so tired. I need a holiday.